Podcasts on UNC-TV.org are made possible through the financial contributions of viewers like you, who invite you to join them in supporting UNC-TV.
I get up about 4 o'clock mornings, eat breakfast, and come down here and go out and fish crab pots. Most boys, you know, they do what their father does. Some don't, but it's just what you did in this area. I started working with the crab house when I was about 11 years old in the summertime. And then when I was about 16, 17, then I started crabbing also. And I did go to junior college at COA in Elizabeth City and finished that with a business administration degree. And the next day I got out and went crabbing. A lot of times I work right out down near Oregon Inlet, the Oregon Inlet Fishing Center in that area. Most people don't like to work that area because there's so much tide there that your pots move all the time. And then up as far as the end of Roanoke Island. The crabs they move in, I don't know if you call it schools or whatever, you know, you call a fish schools of fish. And the main body of them a lot of times is in certain areas, and you don't always know exactly where that's at. So I guess that's how they preserve themselves, keep themselves. But you know, sometimes people say, well, there's no more crabs, they're getting extinct or whatever, and all of a sudden they'll pop up and you got so many you can't sell them, no market, you know. In the summertime they seem to, they're like us, they try to get somewhere where it's cool. I think they possibly even go in the bottom like they do in the winter, in the mud, to try to keep cool. And to catch them with pots, they got to be moving around a lot, whereas they stop moving evidently. And when it gets real hot, humid, and still, you don't catch very many. People think, well, there's not many crabs. Then when you start getting these winds and cooler weather, there they are. If the buoy's laying there, the pot could be off this way or this way, and so it's according to how I come up on it as to whether I make a half circle or whether I keep going straight. If the pot's still in front of me, then I keep going straight. If it's going to be behind me, kind of, I have to make like a half circle. When we cook our crabs and we give them to the pickers to pick the crab meat out, we usually get about a 7-pound yield of crab meat out of a 100-pound of crabs.
There's a lot of guys who crab and they'll take a day off, and anybody you talk to who knows my dad will tell you that he's a consistent 6 days a week. A lot of the other crabbers, when the price was cheap or there's not a lot of crabs, they'll go 4 or 5 days. And he always told me, he said, if you go 6 days a week, you'll have a check at the end of the week. So I think it's a love of it myself.
Well, there was a hurricane almost down to Wilmington. It was a little this side of Wilmington, and they said it had stalled. So I still have my crab pots out, and so I went out to take them up, so when it did get up here, you know, I wouldn't lose them. And while I was still out there, the thing sped up and moved real fast, and before I got in, it was coming right through here. It was blowing about 80 miles an hour. I was out there, and it was a scary time. I weren't very brave. two things have affected it real big, and that is, well, it might be three, but they started using these bushel baskets and shipping the crabs up north, so that gave the crab picking houses less crabs, and when they did get them at a higher price or waiting for there to be so many at a particular time that they could get them cheaper. And then also the imported crab meat from third world countries, you know, you couldn't compete with it, you know, in this country with what you pay people, and your, you know, you pay your Social Security and workman's comp and unemployment tax and all that, and wage law, and then all the other regulations and stuff that you're dealing with, and then you just can't compete with something that comes in from another country where they don't have all of that. So it's really an unfair situation, but it's pretty well run most of them all out of business. And I don't know how much longer we'll even operate that one.
Yeah, he catches them and weighs them up, and I bring them here, and then we unload them and put them in the cooker, cook them, pull them out, cool them overnight, and the ladies pick them the next day after they're cooled overnight. The back fin is the shredded meat that you get out of the crab, and the jumbo lump is the two big pieces you get out of the crab. So. Of course, it takes a lot more crab to get the jumbo, that's why it's more expensive, but so that's the difference.
The Dunes restaurant has been using Daniel's crab meat since 1983. We use Daniel's crab meat in the Norfolk trio, which is a trio of shrimp, scallops, and their crab meat, the crab cakes, the seafood fettuccine. We also use it in stuffed flounder and crab meat imperial and crab meat remick, and also our seafood dip. The crabs are literally caught one day, steamed that next day, and delivered to us.
When fishermen don't have nobody gives them any retirement, then nobody pays them any medical insurance, and they're trying to keep their family going. And with fish and crabs, you have to go at the time they're there, when they're there, and do it then. But with all the rules and regulations that they've been putting on it the last few years, you're restricted on that, and you can't, it's just shoving the fishermen off the water is what it's doing.
Podcasts on UNC-TV.org are made possible through the financial contributions of viewers like you, who invite you to join them in supporting UNC-TV.